Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 23 updates and spoilers. Hope you're all having a great Tuesday so far. And thank you for being here. Our house guests of the day are Janine and Dorsey Clemens Taylor. Janine and Dorsey, thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so, so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. All right. And I also want to thank yesterday's super chatters because you guys are wonderful. And that is also a fantastic way to support this channel and keep us doing what we're doing, all this BB coverage. So I want to thank Norm the Cat, who turned 1 yesterday. Yay! Sheena123, Ohio John, Jefferson Tucker, Lisa, Stara, and Vajrath. Thank you all so much for yesterday's super chats. And I see my stage manager, Jefferson Tucker, is already here today. Thank you so much for the super chat again. He says, last looks, stand by, roll camera, and in 3, 2, 1. Right? Here we are. Look at us. All right. So let's get started. When we left off yesterday, Tiffany and Hannah were up on the block, and Kyland did not use the power of veto. So as we know, Tiffany is the target and will most likely be leaving first in the double eviction on Thursday. But she's campaigning. She's doing her best to stay. So Tiffany was campaigning to Big D in the HOH room, and she is proposing a Final Four deal with herself, Big D, Azah, and Kyland. So essentially like going after Xavier because Hannah wouldn't be there if Tiffany stays. So Tiffany tells Big D, I'm not coming after you. And Big D says, I know that. But I also already made a deal with Hannah that we wouldn't go after each other. So it's kind of awkward. But he says, no. Tiffany says Hannah is cutthroat. She says, I don't even have to make it to the final 2. You know, I just want some money for me and my son. Because keep in mind, 5th place and on, they all get more prize money. So Tiffany, who freaking came up with the strategy for the cookout to get to the final 6, if she leaves in 6th place, she's not going to get that extra prize money, which is a bummer. But Big D says Tiffany and Hannah have both made valid points for why they should stay. And Tiffany's like, well, Hannah has deals with everyone. So she's definitely like kind of throwing Hannah under the bus in her campaigning. But at the same time, you can't really blame her at this point. You know, it's one thing for people to be like, I'm not going to campaign against my friend, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to fault anyone who does campaign against their friend because it's a game and you're playing for a lot of money, you know? So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I know a lot of people were freaking out about it online. So Big D says, I want to make sure whoever stays is also going to work with Azah. And Tiffany brings up, well, Azah's way more likely to work with me than she is to work with Hannah because Azah is like my sister. Sure, we have arguments and all that. We fight, but we always make up, and there's a special bond there. Hannah has never been close with Azah like that. So Tiffany also says Hannah is playing this game strictly with her head, whereas Tiffany is more emotional. And then Tiffany starts bringing out the big guns because she says, before Frenchie left in week 2, he told me to watch out for Hannah, because she is a really tough competitor. You know, she's a good player. She's really going for the gold by bringing up Frenchie to Big D. But Tiffany is also bringing up that Hannah is only 21, and there's a good chance that she could play again. Tiffany says, I'm too old to come back and play again. Hannah can play like 7 more times. So she's trying everything she can at this point. But Big D says, all right, you probably have Azah's vote 100%. So it's going to come down to me and Xavier and what we decide to do. Yeah, I mean, Big D and Xavier really do control the votes right now. So Tiffany says, well, I hope you know Hannah's going to target you because she does not want you to get dragged to the final 2. You know, people are going to want to bring you to the end because they think that they can beat you. I don't think Big D thinks this. Big D thinks he has a great shot at winning this game. So they talk endgame. Tiffany says Xavier is gonna win if he makes it to the final two, but Big D is not convinced. He says, I don't know, if me, you, or Kylan made it to the end with Xavier, the jury would have a really tough time picking. Oh my God, he's delusional. So Tiffany says, I don't think so. I would not have a hard time picking between you and Xavier if I was on the jury. She's telling him like it is, or he needs to know this. But Big D says, I don't think everyone knows the ins and outs of how I've played this game. I mean, the in and out of bed strategy. Like, I don't know what gaming he's referring to that he's done. Because, like, what has Big D actually done in this game? Not much. But Tiffany says if Big D does make it to the final two, it's going to be an uphill battle for him to convince the jury why he should win. All right. So after, Big D tells Kylan all about Tiffany's campaign, and Big D is wondering, is Hannah really targeting me? In reality, not right now. You know, Hannah has bigger fish to fry. She wants to take out Xavier or Kylan next week. So she's not looking at Big D as her number one target. But Kylan says it doesn't even matter because Tiffany would also target Big D. So she still needs to go. So Big D agrees. He wants Tiffany to go this week. And then after that, he wants Hannah to go. And then Azah. Wow. So that would mean Big D, Kylan, and Xavier in the final three. Boo. So I guess like Kylan, Big D also wants to lose? I don't understand why he would want to go to the final three with Kylan and Xavier. That seems really dumb. Unless he I think he actually thinks that he could beat them. But no way, unless the jury was super, super bitter. And that's if they even take him to the final two. Because, I mean, what are the chances of Big D actually winning his way to the final two? No offense. But anyway, Tiffany campaigns to Xavier. And she was pushing that she would really be a shield in front of Xavier because Kylan is going to take a shot at her before he takes a shot at Xavier. I mean, Kylan and Xavier have a final two, and it's looking more and more legit these days. But Tiffany says, if I stay, I would owe my whole game to you and Azah. And if you guys did want to go to the final two together, like I wouldn't even be upset about it if I got third place. So when Azah says things like this, like I don't care if I get fourth place, I'm pretty sure she actually means that. But when Tiffany says it, I think she's just saying that to appease people. But of course Tiffany wants to win. So by the end of this conversation, Xavier tells Tiffany, you made some really good arguments, but he does admit to her that he is leaning towards keeping Hannah this week. Okay. So a little later, Azah and Xavier were chatting in the living room. And Azah says, all right, this week I made a deal with Kylan that if he didn't put me up on the block, I would not put him up next week. And she wants to follow through on that if she can. She says, I'm going to target Hannah if I win HOH. What are you doing? Like, seriously, what is Azah thinking? So Xavier loves this. He says, oh yeah, I've been bouncing back and forth between targeting Hannah or Kylan, but he says he's leaning towards Hannah because he thinks that she might take a shot at him given the chance. Yeah, as everyone should be. But he says, Tiffany told me that Hannah is targeting me, and I'm not sure if I believe it or not. So Azah says, yeah, Hannah's going to go after a guy if she wins HOH. So I'm going to go for the HOH to make sure that Hannah doesn't win. This is so sad and embarrassing for Azah. Does she not hear herself? If Hannah wins HOH, she's not going to target Azah. That should be a positive for Azah. But no, she's telling Xavier, I'm loyal to you, blah, 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 blah. Blech. I'm sorry. It's gross. So anyway, a little later, Xavier and Big D are comparing notes on Tiffany's campaign. And they agree that Tiffany is going this week and Hannah is the target next week. So Big D says we should put up Azah as a pawn next to Hannah. because she hasn't been on the block yet. So she was upset about it. Whatever. She can get over it. Oh. And he also says if Hannah wins HOH, they're going to try and convince Hannah to target Azah. I don't see Hannah doing that. I don't see them getting in Hannah's head like that. And Hannah wants to target Xavier. So she's not going to waste her opportunity on Azah. Azah is somebody that Hannah would want to go to the end with. So yeah. Anyway, it's pretty messed up that they are willing to throw Azah away like that, because once Hannah's gone, they're saying Azah needs to go after that. So Big D is talking it up that he wants to win this next HOH, as he always does, and he's saying then Xavier can win at Final Four, and then we'll have all the guys in the Final Three. And Big D says when we get down to Final Three, it's going to be a friendly gentleman fight. Gross. Sorry for all the fake puking in this video, but I just can't take it. So, yeah. They are moving full steam ahead with this all dudes Final Three. So later, Hannah was alone with the chessboard in the yacht club bedroom, and she gives us some insight into her game moving forward. She doesn't want to put herself in a situation this week where she's going to screw herself over for next week. Sorry, my boyfriend's making me laugh in the chat. So she says, I don't want to have to go back on any deals next week that I'm making this week in order to ensure my safety. So she says she's trying to work backwards here. She knows who she wants in the Final Three. So she's trying to figure out the best way to get to that situation. So her ideal Final Three is with Kyland and Azah. She thinks that they would both take her to the Final Two. So Kyland she says Kyland is going to want to go to the end with a stronger competitor. I mean, that's at least what he's saying. Does he actually mean it? Not if it's a woman. Name a woman. So yeah, she feels like Kyland would pick her over Azah because, let's face it, Hannah has been a stronger competitor than Azah so far this season. And she says, I feel like Azah will also pick me over Kyland because she doesn't like the way that Kyland has played this game. He's been shady with the cookout, you know, so Azah is not into that kind of thing. So Hannah was also saying, I don't think that Big D would want to take me much further in this game. Correct. And she says, Xavier, who knows what's going on with him? He's never had to show his cards. He is the most dangerous player to Hannah. And Hannah thinks she has a chance to win against anyone except for Xavier. And I would agree with that. I think that Hannah would have a shot against anyone else. But Xavier, I think, would definitely beat anyone in the end. So Hannah says, if I win HOH, I'm going to take a shot at Xavier. I want to at least force him to show his cards. That was pretty much it for last night. There was some talk of maybe telling Tiffany today that she's going so that she can enjoy her last few days in the house. Is that actually going to happen? We'll see. I don't know. I have my doubts. But in other news, Big D slept in the HOH room with Kyland, but Kyland was not all cuddly like he is when Tiffany sleeps up there. And Big D kept saying, like, oh, Kyland, you're my showmance. Like, I wouldn't be upset if you beat me in the end, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then today, Tiffany and Hannah are both out on the campaign trail. It doesn't seem like anything's changing, though, as of now. There aren't really any shifts. It seems like Tiffany will still be leaving. But Azah was asking Big D, is Tiffany leaving really the best move for us? And Big D shut that down real quick. He was just like, no, Tiffany needs to go. Like, don't even. So Azah was also expressing some concern about Big D wanting them to use each other as pawns next week to take out Hannah, because he was telling Azah, if I win HOH, I'm going to put you up with Hannah, but you're going to be safe. And he was saying, if you win HOH, you should put me up with Hannah and I will stay. This should be a red flag to Azah. She's not comfortable with this. She's like, why would we put each other up on the block if we don't have to? Like, why are we doing this? What's the point? And Big D's like, just do it. Yeah, so Ozza should really be thinking about this and wondering, why is Big D protecting these dudes over me? Right? But we've got 2 days left until the eviction. I really don't see this vote flipping. Like, you never know what could happen, but it doesn't seem very likely that Tiffany will be staying on Thursday. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Just waiting for it. Here we are. Hello. Thank you.
What do you think?
About what?
Everything.
I just said what I thought.
Oh, okay.
I want to thank all of today's super chatters because you guys are awesome. We couldn't do this without you. Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much. Bowie, come in. Sean, thank you so much. He says, cookout for the win. I mean, we're definitely going to have a winner from the cookout. This is my boyfriend who does not watch the show.
That's a done deal.
Yeah, but he kind of knows what's going on because...
Does he, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Stara. I said it right now because thank you for giving me the pronunciation. Yeah. Stara says thank you. Stara says thank you for making these. You guys are amazing. Thank you for watching. You're very sweet. And I'm sorry I pronounced your name wrong all those times. And Sean again. He says go watch A Futile and Stupid Gesture on Netflix. He's obsessed with that movie. But anyway, that's it. So
tomorrow's probably not going to be live.
Oh, yes. So tomorrow, I'm going to be working background for a TV show. Mm-hmm. Actually, tomorrow and Thursday. I don't know when my call time is yet. So, yeah. But, oh, no, the monkeys.
Yeah, he's hanging on to his leg.
Chances are, though, Mom will be doing the spoiler for the next 2 days. And I'm not sure yet if our episode recaps are going to be on time, if they're going to be delayed, because I'm thinking I'm going to be working late.
Hold your tears.
Yeah.
And tears.
Yeah. So, just we're going to be going with the flow. So hopefully
we're going through it this week.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's going to work out okay.
I just don't want everybody staying up all night.
Yeah, don't stay up waiting.
It's not going to go up until the next
I'm going to try and tweet to let you guys know what's going on. But yeah, just be patient with us over the next few days because work is going to be a little bit insane. So, all right, that's where we're at. So thank you all so much for being here today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And until next time, much love. Bye.